Hi, my name is Ribeiro and let's start with Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Recently I played it for several hours and I was really impressed. This indie dark fantasy title follows the Elder Scrolls formula to the letter, and also it is the sponsor of this video, because it is really new, so you might have missed it, and the developers wanted me to tell you about it a bit more. Here you play from the first-person perspective. You can use magic, shoot with bows or swing mighty melee weapons, and the more you use one skill or another, the more powerful it becomes. Literally, the vibes from Morrowind are here as well. If you jump a lot, you will train your jumping skill and later you can jump higher. If you run a lot, you will start running faster. If you fight with a two-handed sword, your two-handed damage will become higher. If you make a bowl of delicious potato salad, well, you get the point, right?
No, only left.
Oh, shut up. Also, you can assign various perks and skill points when you level up and create your unique character. And the game really rewards exploration. You can find many hidden items, boss battles, or even entire huge areas if you go off the beaten path. I left starting area with about 15 jars filled with brain and several tongs of a drowner. Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon really delivers in the field of items and various stuff in general. Like in Elder Scrolls games, you can take items directly from the world and put them into your almost endless pocket. I did the calculations. If you really want, you can carry more than 100 hats. You probably may even become a hat seller.
From where did you get these fancy hats, boy?
Well, I kill people and take their belongings.
Alrighty then, we'll give you 1 gold for the fancy one.
That is a deal. Anyway, Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon has started its early access form at the end of March, so the game is really fresh and deserves your attention. Check it out, you will find the link in the description below. Kingdom Come Deliverance. If you take Skyrim and strip it of dragons, trolls, elves and magic, you might get a very boring game. Not as boring as your sister, but really, you may think that it would probably suck. But these Czech developers who created Kingdom Come Deliverance managed to make a realistic medieval Skyrim-like game that is not only not boring, but is one of the most famous open-world games nowadays. It has a great story, interesting missions and a really beautiful world set in an ancient part of nowadays Czech Republic. So grab your wooden sword and show everyone how to fight. Well, I'll be honest, this game is terribly hard at the beginning. A simple drunken peasant will destroy your dignity at ease. The learning curve is not friendly at all, but you will learn, everyone learns. You are not worse than everyone, right? Although in general, the harsh reality of a level 1 villager that decided to become a warrior is not very pleasant, like in any game. And combat here is very realistic. I'm not kidding, some duels against stronger foes can span 15 minutes or even more. Here you will really feel like a lone warrior fighting for your life. Immersion definitely over 9000. Elden Ring. Yeah, I know, Souls-like, yada yada, nothing like Skyrim and so on. Now listen. A year ago I made a similar list with 20 games and I decided that Elden Ring doesn't belong there because of its Souls-like nature. From that time, almost a year have passed and I realized one thing. Elden Ring is like Skyrim, but not by its gameplay mechanics, God forbid, but by the feeling of the unknown, by the immersion you get while exploring places. Honestly, none of the games, except maybe Morrowind a long time ago, gave me this strong emotion of not knowing what to expect next. Elden Ring doesn't guide you by your hand or penis at all, you have to explore this huge world on your own and make amazing discoveries as you progress. I can promise you one thing, you can't foresee what this game will show you or where it will take you next, and that is its overwhelming beauty. The worst part, at least for me when I played it on the release date, was its difficulty. Yeah, I was dying non-stop and that kinda killed the game for me, pun intended, after playing about 12 hours. But now Elden Ring's difficulty curve has been adjusted by the help of mods. For example, there is one called Easy Mode for Elden Ring. You can find it on nexusmods.com. And if you are a console player, I can only offer my condolences. And for PC players, there is no reason not to play it anymore. Well, except the price. It's really high and the game was on Steam sale only once since the release so far. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This is probably the best fantasy open-world RPG ever created, and I doubt that I could find anyone who at least never heard of it. Well, at least inside the Western influence hemisphere, it's a true legend. On Steam it has more than 600,000 reviews, and 96% of these people recommend this game for you. And I don't know who are the 4% who didn't like the game. I scrolled for like 5 minutes through hundreds of reviews and failed to find any explaining why, although I finally found one. Dude said that he doesn't like developers anymore after after the flop of Cyberpunk 2077, which is honestly a good game by now, and that's why he gave a negative review for Witcher 3. That is not serious. And my friendship with Witcher Geralt started way before any of the games were released. I read the book when I was a teenager, and after many years I even got Andrzej Sapkowski to sign it for me when he was visiting Lithuania for some book fair or something. And we also spoke for like 20 seconds as well. Never washed my mouth in years after that. Anyway, the game has an incredible story, super fun gameplay, and a huge dark fantasy open world to explore. The coolest thing is, of course, your profession. You kill monsters for money, so you can just travel around the map and fulfill contracts ignoring the main story as long as you want or as long as you can get a new contract. And every single monster hunt is a handcrafted mission with different outcomes and sometimes hard moral choices. Third Witcher is probably the best game I have ever played. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. This is a massive, challenging action RPG that drops you into a vast open world full of interesting characters and creatures. The game is made by Capcom, a Japanese company, but the whole setting of Dragon's Dogma is European. So you may think maybe because of that this game features some ridiculous moments, but Capcom was really serious about the job. They went all around Europe to actually get a lot of information, especially for the backgrounds and environments in the Dragon's Dogma. They looked at architecture and buildings and things of that nature, and also just natural environments as well. Also took many pictures and tried to recreate those as closely as possible. Well, a bunch of Japanese people in Europe taking pictures? Who could have thought? Anyway, developers actually did a lot of research in Europe that helped to recreate stuff in-game, and that level of dedication is truly admirable. Dragon's Dogma has more strategy and more dynamic fights than usual action RPG games. You know, you can climb monsters here, and that is super cool. Also, it's a tougher game in general. But if you like to explore the open world and love fantasy games, you can't ignore it. Gamers are talking that this is an underrated gem and is a must-play for every open-world RPG fan. Gedonia. This is an open-world role-playing game inspired by old-school classics. Here you'll become a simple traveler and adventure seeker. Explore a huge world, progress your character in any way you want, discover hidden treasures, mysteries, and fight vast array of enemies. Here you can become a powerful mage, strong warrior, or a charismatic leader. Also in Gedonia you will be able to own a house where you can grow plants and farm animals. They sort of implemented Stardew Valley inside this fighting and exploration RPG game. That is great. We all need some relaxation after a tiring dungeon exploration and grow some eggplants in our spare time. The game is created mostly by one man and it has very positive reviews on Steam. Fallout 4. Along with Fall of Avalon and Kingdom Come, this is probably the closest thing to Skyrim if you look at it from the technical side of the gameplay. You can play from first or third person. You can take items that lie around and roam across a big open world in search of adventure, absolutely ignoring the main quest and story. So basically it evokes, at least for me it really did, the same feeling of freedom and exploration as the Elder Scrolls games. The main difference is of course the setting. Fallout 4 is a post-apocalyptic sci-fi game. Yeah, it's filled with mutants and creepy facilities, but also, like in Skyrim, you can join various factions and that will immensely influence the outcome of the story. Sadly, they don't have a potato salad faction you could join. The game, along with the third Fallout game, has one really annoying feature. In both cases, I finished the game thinking that I have like 10 or more hours of gameplay left, and it ended absolutely unexpectedly and way too fast. So if you decide to play Fallout 4, keep that in mind. Roam around, do some side quests, do not rush the story. All three games, I mean third Fallout, Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4 are great games. Also, you can throw in Obsidian's The Outer Worlds as well. You have all my recommendations. Kingdoms of Amalur: Re-Reckoning. The game was released in 2012, but 10 years later it was remastered and sold, you know the drill, as a new game with a price of a new game. Everyone was raging, but now it's not a problem anymore. On various sales you can get it with 60 or 70% discount. The game itself is designed by the Elder Scrolls Oblivion lead designer Ken Ralston and set in a world with a lore of 10,000 years of fiction created by New York Times bestselling author R.A. Salvatore, or however his name is pronounced. I don't know him, but he's obviously very good. So this is a huge open world game, although be warned that some players sometimes encounter game-breaking bugs. I literally read that in a comment that was written a few months ago. It's not old news or something, keeping the age of the game in mind. Anyway, the game itself is really good, so you may want to risk it. Greedfall Gold Edition. Here you'll have a complete freedom in character progression. Play as a male or female, customize your appearance and freely choose your abilities, spells and skills. But do not expect miracles, this is not a highest level RPG, although it looks like one. Greedfall was created in 3 years and its budget was about $5 million. For a AAA open world game like this, it's the bare minimum for it to be decent, so treat it more like a very expensive indie game instead. Somewhat similar budget had the Kingdom Come Deliverance team, and Skyrim's budget was about 100 million. For it you can literally create 20 games like Greedfall, so keep that in mind before you start comparing Greedfall with the giants of the genre. And this version, Greedfall Gold Edition, includes a DLC, so this is a better version of the game if you compare it with just the basic Greedfall. It is a decent game and, as I've said many times, I would give it about 7 cold beers out of 10. Middle-earth: Shadow of War. This is Lord of the Rings themed orc killing simulator. I don't even know how else to name it because all you do here is orc killing. Even orcs kill other orcs here. You will go behind enemy lines to forge your army, conquer fortresses and dominate Mordor from within. Experience how the award-winning Nemesis system creates unique personal stories with every enemy and follower, and confront the full power of the Dark Lord Sauron and his ringwraiths in this epic Middle-earth story. By the way, quick off-topic question. Have you seen Amazon's Rings of Power? What is your opinion? What do you think? For example, I think that the show was too sterile, acting was a bit off, but in general I like the dwarves very much and the ending was a true blast. I wasn't expecting anything like that. For me, the ending practically saved the show. Anyway, keep in mind that Shadow of War participates in every sale and it's really cheap by then. Also, you can try a demo version of it for free on Steam if you want. And now don't forget to check out Tainted, Grail, The Fall of Avalon. You will find my safe affiliate link in the description below. Also, I will release a bigger, updated version of this list someday towards the end of the year, because there are so many great games that I couldn't fit on the best in list right now, starting with Gothic series, Hogwarts Legacy and many games that are not released yet, but they will be. Thank you for watching, have a nice day and I'll see you next time.
Bye.